Let's take a look at how to evaluate logarithms just in our head without using a calculator. To evaluate means to find a value, so I want to actually work these problems out. So this first example, what I always ask myself is 4 raised to what power? Because remember from our last video when we rearranged these, I said the answer to a logarithm is always an exponent. So I want to know 4 raised to what power would give me 64 as an answer. So that's the question we're working with. For these problems at this point, the only method we can really do is guess and check. And the good news is all of our answers right now are going to be nice integers, positive or negative whole numbers, or fractions. But the fractions, if we get them, would be easy fractions like a half or a fourth, nothing unusual. And so we don't really need a calculator to do this other than to use it to guess and check. So I'd maybe want to try a few things. Like I could try 4 squared in my calculator, but that's not big enough. 4 squared is 16, so that's not going to work. If I try 4 to the third power, though, I see that is 64. And so some people will write their answer just like this. Make sure if you do that, go ahead and circle that 3 so I know that you know that's the answer. Or if you just want to write 3 down, that's totally fine. Log base 4 of 64 is equal to 3. Because 4 to the third power is 64. Really, what we're looking for when we're evaluating exponent or when we're evaluating logarithms is we're looking for an exponent. Okay. Let's do a couple more examples together, and then I'll have you try the last couple on your own. So next up, I want to figure out what log base 2 of 32 is. Well, remember, the question we're really trying to figure out is 2, the base, raised to what power would give me 32 as an answer. So once again, my best bet at this point is going to be just guess and check. If you're watching this as a review video, you may know some better ways to do this or some ways to do this using your calculator. But for now, we'll rely on guess and check. And our answers, like I said before, will be integers or nice simple fractions like a half or a fourth. So I could try a few things on my calculator. 2 squared obviously won't work. 2 to the third is only 8. Once I try a few more problems or a few more possible exponents, I realize that 5 is going to be the exponent I'm looking for because 2 to the 5th power is equal to 32. Now, if you do write in this format, again, make sure you circle the exponent so I know you know the exponent's the answer. Okay? Let me show you one more so I can give you a couple tricks to try with these. Oops. And then I'll have you guys pause the video and try the last couple on your own. So in this case, I've got 5 raised to some power to equal 1/5. Well, this one's a bit unusual because I have an integer value, the 5, turning into a fraction. Anytime you're going from an integer to a fraction, try to think of a negative exponent to use. Remember, negative exponents have the effect of taking that integer and taking the reciprocal of it, flipping around. So try finding some negative exponents if you're ever going from an integer to a fraction or vice versa. So I can try 5 to the negative first or 5 to the negative second. And once I guess and check a few times, I should see that -1 is going to be the exponent that works because 5 to the negative first power is equal to 1/5. Okay? Actually, you know what? I said I was going to pause the video and have you guys try these last couple, but let me just go ahead and talk these through, I suppose. This next example is very similar. I've got 1/5 as my base, raised to some power has to equal 25. Well, once again, we're going from a fraction to an integer or vice versa, and so think negative exponents. Negative exponents are going to be what are going to have the effect of taking a fraction and turning it into an integer or vice versa. So once again, I can guess and check. I can try 1/5 to the negative first or negative second. I'm going to see that -2 is the exponent that I want to I want to use in this case. Some people knew there was going to be a 2 involved because going from 5 to 25, I would need to square that. Well, -2 is also going to have the effect of flipping it. Okay? And then one more trick that they may pull on you is this, log base 36 of 6. And so again, the question is 36 raised to what power equals 6? Well, this time the answer is getting smaller, so I may be tempted to think again I'm dealing with negative exponents. But remember, negative exponents tend to give me fractions. They flip your number around. And so it's not negative exponents this time, but rather I want something else that I could raise this to get a smaller answer. And you may recall from the last unit that fractions may have that effect. And so what some people noticed was that, or what some people realized, was that since the square root of 36 is 6, they remember that a 1/2 exponent has the same effect as doing a square root. So 1/2 is the missing power in this case. And if I want to write that out, I can try it on my calculator. 36 raised to the 1/2 power is equal to 6. It's the same thing as taking a square root.